Bulls on parade. We have two major updates regarding our offensive line today. One of our projected starting tackles was just carted off the field with a foot injury, yet we are simultaneously seeing a massive breakout performance from a younger lineman who our coach is calling the most improved player in camp. I will reveal who these guys are in a bit. Subscribe to reach 4,000 fans, like the video, and comment your city. Braden Smith suffered a plantar fascia injury during Wednesday's practice and had to be carted off the field while participating in a joint session against the Carolina Panthers. I am completely frustrated seeing our projected starter for the right tackle spot go down like this after he was brought in this offseason specifically to anchor our line. Watching him leave the field is never what any of us want for the trenches, but is this just a minor setback or a sign of deeper trouble for our depth chart? Now here's the thing. While I'm worried, I want to pump the brakes a little because according to Adam Schefter, the prognosis is not season-ending, and he should only miss a few weeks. That is certainly a relief compared to my initial panic when I saw the cart moving. We are looking at Trent Brown stepping in as the immediate starter, with young Blake Fisher likely getting a look at elevated snap counts to see if he can handle the pressure. It is an unfortunate turn for our front office strategy, especially considering there is a real possibility that Smith might be placed on injured reserve to open the regular season, which would force him out for the first 4 vital weeks of the campaign. Despite the setback, I honestly believe we have enough veteran insurance to avoid long-term damage to the unit. Still, the reality is that continuity is everything for an offensive line, and losing a key piece right before the season kicks off puts a massive spotlight on our roster bubble talent. How much will this chemistry shift hurt us when we face a real pass rush? I am diving into the specific options the coaching staff has to fill this gap while we wait for more updates. Does our offensive line depth actually have enough grit to survive this sudden roster shakeup? Or are we staring down the barrel of a major protection failure? Braden Smith was signed during the offseason specifically to compete for the right tackle job. A move meant to solidify our presence in the trenches after a lackluster year for our protection units. Watching him carted off during joint sessions with the Carolina Panthers feels like a brutal blow to the continuity we desperately needed to establish before September. What nobody is talking about is how this injury history could impact his long-term effectiveness once he finally returns to the field. I am really concerned that a plantar fascia injury, even if deemed short-term, could linger or affect his lateral movement once the pads are popping in a real game environment. Does this actually change anything about how our front office views our depth chart, or are they just hoping for a quick recovery? Per Adam Schefter, the medical team is optimistic that this is not a season-ending scenario, but the fact that he may land on injured reserve suggests we must prepare for at least 4 weeks without him. Trent Brown is now stepping into that starting role with the first team, and young rookie Blake Fisher is suddenly under the microscope as he climbs the depth chart to provide insurance. From my perspective, this transition is the biggest test of the year for our line coaches because replacing a primary starter this late in the preseason is never ideal for establishing rhythm. I want to be confident that our rotation can handle the pressure, but I have to remain cautious until I see how they perform in actual snap counts against live pass rushes. Now let's get into the update everyone has been waiting for. Third-year tackle Blake Fisher is officially surging up our depth chart, earning high praise from DeMeco Ryans as the most improved player in training camp. Seeing Fisher step up is a massive relief for all of us in Bull Nation, especially following that injury news earlier in the joint practice session with the Carolina Panthers. If we held awards for camp performance, Coach Ryans confirmed he would be the top offensive lineman recognized this year. And I cannot stress this enough, the way our offensive line handled those stunts and pass-off games during the joint practice was the clear bright spot for the entire coaching staff. Watching them communicate loudly and stay on the same page is exactly the kind of maturity I want to see from our unit in the trenches. Does this rapid development mean we have finally found our long-term solution for that edge protection? I'm excited, but I also want to pump the brakes a little because performing well in practice is a different animal than holding your ground during regular season snap counts. Regardless, having a young player like Fisher demonstrate such clear technical growth during these crucial workouts provides a much-needed boost to our roster depth. Ryans made it crystal clear that the offensive line's communication was the highlight of his day, and that foundation is vital if we hope to remain competitive through the dog days of the schedule. Seeing him thrive under this kind of pressure gives me genuine confidence. But can he sustain this level of discipline when the real bullets start flying? Only time will tell if this improvement translates to the field, but I believe his progression is a testament to the hard work happening behind the scenes at our facility. Improving as rapidly as Blake Fisher has this summer is exactly the kind of trajectory we demand from our younger players in the trenches. Coach DeMeco Ryans singled him out after our joint work with the Carolina Panthers, noting that if there were camp awards, Fisher would earn the recognition for being the most improved offensive lineman of the year. This jump in performance is timely, especially since the team needs reliable hands to step up following the injury to Braden Smith. And the more I look at this, I see a genuine chance for a high-ceiling prospect to prove he belongs in the regular rotation. Is this the breakout moment he needed to silence the skeptics, or are we putting too much weight on a few productive joint sessions? The upside here is obvious. Getting solid, reliable play from a young tackle on a rookie contract is the gold standard for roster efficiency. However, I have to balance my optimism with a bit of skepticism. Practice is one thing, but can he handle the intensity of a live game day without breaking down? Some observers around the league wonder if his current technical proficiency is sustainable under real defensive schemes. Personally, my honest take is that while Fisher has clearly impressed the coaching staff with his communication and understanding of complex stunts, he still needs to demonstrate that same poise when the pressure is at its peak. The way Ryans highlighted how the entire offensive line unit stood out by staying vocal and in sync during those practice snaps against Carolina suggests this is more about the group's collective growth than just one man. If Fisher stays locked in, he could be a vital piece of the puzzle, but let us not get ahead of ourselves just yet. When you put both of today's stories together, here's the picture that emerges for the Houston Texans. We are witnessing a test of our depth that defines our season. This is where it gets real, because losing a starter like Braden Smith during training camp forces a direct pivot to our development plan, specifically the growth of young guys like Blake Fisher. While it hurts to lose a veteran for a few weeks, the fact that our head coach sees such clear improvement in our rookie tells me the front office prioritized the right tools for the trenches. If we can stabilize the offensive line now, this temporary setback might actually reveal our true strength moving forward. I'm curious about your take on how we should handle the immediate rotation. Should we rush Braden Smith back as soon as his foot heals, or is it safer to let him fully recover while Fisher gains experience? Furthermore, given how vocal our unit was against the Carolina Panthers, do you believe our line's communication will be the primary reason we avoid any long-term damage? I honestly want to hear from the fans in the comments because your perspective on our roster depth is just as important as the latest injury report. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. I am still pushing toward our first 4,000 subscribers, and every one of you helps me get there. Bulls on parade. I'll see you in the next one. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Houston Texans news. Stay tuned for deep dives into upcoming draft prospects and tactical breakdowns that define our playoff trajectory. There is so much more to cover as we navigate this exciting season together.